Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the podcast and the YouTube channel. Sal Vetcher here, and we have a 6-game slate. The LPL is returning after their day off, and the LCK. 6-game slate for Sunday, April 5th. Hope you all are having a good start to your day. Had a very good day yesterday in terms of some of the League of Legends stuff, so excited to get right back out there and try not to be overzealous. But appreciate you being here. We're just going to get right into the slate. Again, you'll have the LPL starters way before lock. I'm shooting this video right now at 7 in the morning. Probably a good 20 hours before the slate locks or so. So later in the day, the projections will come out. I'll have my rankings. I'll have stack rankings, all that stuff over on Patreon if you're interested. This is just more of the preview in the morning if you're new here. So if you are new, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Really appreciate it. I know there's some other stuff slowly getting pulled out in the DFS space in terms of getting a lot more in the iRacing, the e-racing, whatever it is for NASCAR, 100,000 at first. I'm going to be looking into that. Seems more, though, from what I've heard from the past couple of contests that they've had, because they've had a couple so far, it seems a lot more random than you would like in terms of trying to project for it, and more so just to get people interested in something and not a lot of modeling. But we'll see what we can try and do there. If you are new, I want to call out that this video is sponsored by Monkey Knife Fight, and so are all of the esports and League of Legends for the rest of this month, and we'll see from after that. But yeah, Monkey Knife Fight has props that are very beatable right now, in my opinion, over on their site. You should go ahead and check them out. I have projections that are going to help really well, and a lot of people are having success with them over on Monkey Knife Fight. Pretty much they have props for kills, assists, those types of things. I project for those, but I also mainly project for available is the fantasy points. And a lot of those are going to be off off by a decent amount in some spots that you can really pick apart. So Monkey Knife Fight, if you want to try it, if you've never tried it before, free $5 if you just click the link below or use the promo code VETRI. And if you have tried it and you want to just get a little bit more action down, 100% deposit match up to $50. So you have tried it, and it doesn't matter if you already have an account or not. If you want to use the promo code VETRI or the link below, you want to try it, you want to put $20 in, well, you're going to get another 20 for free. You can put it all the way up to 50 and get an extra 50 for free. So check that out. There's a ton of props over there for all these League of Legends, not only for all the esports, not only for League of Legends, but also for CSG Go, and I have projections for that as well. And you can check some of that stuff out. Link down below on Patreon. So starting off with some of the top laners, you don't really have massive favorites. So two of the favorites, you have T1, biggest favorite, minus 385. Now that's a massive favorite for other sports, but for that being the biggest favorite on the League of Legends slate, usually you're seeing some in the 500s, some in the 4 figures, and then you have JD Gaming at a minus 312 favorite here. And then the rest are hovering in the 2s for the most part. So no small favorites outside of APK as a minus 192, but no massive favorites. So it's a spot where it's a risky slate in terms of a ton of teams can have upset. It can be on upset alert in this matchup. So if you look at the top, the Shy is going to be 7,200. It depends on where you want to go with your stacks. IG is going to be probably one of the teams that does actually plan out as a team that is on upset alert, but also minus 244 favorite. You're going to get a ton of damage, best on the slate. You're going to get kills, assists, all that leading on the slate for the Shy at minus 244. Now, I do think that Invictus Gaming is going to have a good percentage when you factor in all their fantasy points. You divide it by the amount of fantasy points in the slate, actually have a good percentage of scoring the most points as a stack, and they probably reduce a little bit of ownership because of how flat everything is in terms of just fantasy points across and not being huge favorites. But then also you factor in that Invictus Gaming is going to be highly priced, so it probably lowers their ownership. So I actually think the Shy seems pretty good there if just from what we've seen so far actually pans out and plays out properly. Canna for T1, if Canna does get the start over Roach, which I'm expecting. Biggest favorite on the slate. Not much stands out though at 6,800. So that price point, I'd probably stay away from that. If I'm paying up, I'd rather just go all the way up to the Shy. I do think there's a ton of live underdogs, whether it be Flandre or Laying X. Those are the ones that really stand out the most to me. Laying X, again, on the opposite side of the Shy, and IG for Royal Never Give Up. Royal Never Give Up, you're going to have Laying X averaging 6.3 assists per contest, a ton of creep score, and a nice price point of 6K as an underdog. Same things can be said for Flandre at 5,800. A nice underdog here, and I think it's very much a live underdog at plus 229 when laying. So when you pretty much get LNG Esports, if they end up actually pulling off the upset, they're going to be scoring a ton of points, and that happens often. So I think some of these slight underdogs are actually in play, and if not, then I think you can settle for all the way up for the Shy. None of the mid-range options, some of these small favorites, none of them really stand out from a top lane perspective, so I probably get my top lane from somewhere else if that's where you're looking at. Heading over to the mid lane now. So you have Rookie at the top for IG. That's not to shock anybody. By far leads the slate on kills, 4.6, over 1 more per contest than anybody else. By far leads it per assist at over 1.2 more than any of the other starters at 7 per contest. Picks up very good damage at 27.1. That's going to be top 3, third best on the slate out of all the starters. So yeah, Rookie up top at 8,000. You know what you're paying for. You're going to get some stability there. I think that's fine to go to. As we come down a little bit here into some of these other options, for T1, if it's going to be Faker out there today, as it has been pretty much all year, I think that's an okay price point based on the fact that it's just such a huge favorite. $7,400 is actually a really strong price point, because even if you were to get an upset on the biggest favorite in T1, mid laners are still going to score a good amount of points in some of the upsets. We saw, I think, Teachermont the other day score like 110 points in a loss as a mid laner. So you're getting a good amount of kill participation, damage, all that stuff for Faker at a nice price point of 7,400. When you start to come down, you start to get to some of the underdogs now. I'm not really too interested in AF and Fly at $7,000 flat, in Keen for APK if Keen does start over cover. Not too interested in there. But when you start to get to some of these underdogs, Maple for LNG, we're talking about LNG against JD Gaming. If they pull off the upset, they usually score a ton of points. Maple would probably be the one that really falls into that category the most for me. So that's where I go for Royal Never Give Up, checking out their mid later. Zayuhu is probably somebody that I end up getting to a decent amount if we're going to be going for some upsets. Leads the slate in damage percentage, which you really like to see. When you start to look at kills and assists out of all the starters, top 4 in those categories on the slate for a $6,200 price tag. So Maple, Royal Never Give Up, those are some spots for mid laners as underdogs that you can really target and have some upside. And then lastly, $6,000 flat. I mean, this is a super cheap price point, and we've been seeing the salaries change a lot. But Showmaker for Damwon Gaming. Now, it's the biggest underdog on the slate, so I don't really like it. But if you had the upset here, you're going to have a very small price point. So maybe this is your one-off spot if you don't have a lot of money left over. And Showmaker can put up a lot of points. I do much prefer, though, players like Maple in their underdog spots for a more consistent ceiling, and actually, I think, a better opportunity to actually pull off the victory. Heading over to support now. So just looking at some of these support players, you're going to have probably the best support player on the slate. It's really not that close with Southwind. So Southwind's averaging over 10 assists per contest. That's about 1 more than anybody else on the slate. Leads the slate in creep score per minute. Is also going to have just 2.4 deaths per contest, picking up over a kill per contest. Out of all the starters, leads all starters with kills per contest at 1.1. Southwind, it's not a steep price point. $6,200 for a support player I think is very fair. I think it's something that I'm okay completely getting to there. The rest of the favorites, if you want to get to their support players in your stacks, pair them up with their AD carry for some more correlation. LV Mayo, I think that's completely fine for JD Gaming. Effort for T1 is a nice price point of 5,600. Effort really does contribute across the board. Kill participation is up at 71.6%. That is 4th among the starters. So I think you're okay there. You're really not going to seek much damage out of any of these players. So I think that Effort's a nice price point as you're getting with a lot of these T1 players. So T1, huge favorites here and a lot of nice price points. So I think it's going to lead to a good amount of ownership on them. Southwind, and then if you want to go down, I think an underdog, once again, RNG, we're on the rev up with Ming. I think Ming's probably your best underdog option in terms of upside. Just a plus 177 underdog, so not a crazy underdog. Price point's 4,800. And in victories, Ming is going to produce really well. You get, right now, out of all the starters, 4th most assists per contest at 8.1, tied for the lead in creep score per minute at 1.2. I think that's pretty good. Going down anywhere else for some of these, I mean, you can look at Dwayne for LNG. Dwayne does have spike performances. If you're already 4-man stacking LNG as the underdog, and that's where you're trying to get some price savings, salary savings, discounts, $4,000 flat. Dwayne is not a terrible option there, but probably not one that I'm going to be looking at as a priority. AD carry now, the high scoring player is usually on the slate when the team wins. And I think targeting your favorites here and really targeting either underdog AD carries to put in the captain spot, so it's cheaper so you can fit in another AD carry, or just going all out with another spot, maybe a mid or a support in your captain spot. Doesn't work out as much with the support, and then just getting to a really high priced AD carry. I think usually an optimal way to build in these huge slate, get a cheaper AD carry in your captain spot, usually a slight underdog or even a big underdog, but a slight underdog more times than not is going to work out for you compared to a long shot. And then you put the more expensive in more expensive stack and AD carry in just your normal AD carry spot. So for instance, if you wanted to get Puff from IG, who's going to project out as one of the highest scoring AD carries on the slate today, leads the slate in kills per contest, pretty much right up there in assists per contest as well, top 4 and just by a fractional off of the lead and assists per contest. So Puff has been fantastic this year for IG. You want to put Puff in the AD carry spot, a player that you can probably put into your into your captain spot is a player like Betty. Betty is only $7,000 flat, is an underdog. Well, I guess this situation wouldn't really work out because they're facing each other, but let's say you wanted to put Hope, an $8,400 AD carry, in your AD carry spot, and then you wanted to fill out the rest of your lineup. Well, maybe you 4-man stack RNG. You put Betty in the captain spot to make it a little bit cheaper. Betty, when RNG, Royal Never Give Up, is victorious, is going to score a ton of points. Probably like if Royal Never Give Up was to win today, Betty has just highest score on the slate upside. Probably top 5 score without a doubt on the slate. So that's a lot of upside there at just a $7,000 price tag. When you start to come down a little bit more, not as much stands out. LNG, if you were to take the upside there, Azor has been starting over light as of late, and Azor does also have a ceiling. 88% kill participation is by far the highest on the slate, a little bit ahead of Loken. So those are spots where I think the underdog can actually hit you a ceiling score if they win. Azura at AD carry if you want to play in the captain spot, as well as Betty. But Hope, Puff, Loken, Teddy, the 4 main favorites up top, the 4 biggest favorites up top, all 4 of their AD carries are in play. I'm not going to say anything bad about them. They all generate kills, they all generate assists, they're all involved in their kill participation, a lot of damage as well. I do think that, once again, Teddy being only 7,800 as an AD carry on the biggest favorite, who does produce kills, assists, kill participation, creep, score per minute, leads the slate, damage percentage, 32.9 out of all the starters, leads the slate. I do think that this T1 team is interesting, a lot of value, maybe cash games. If they have a lot of ownership, which I would expect when you have a huge favorite at nice price points, then maybe you stay away. But if the ownership's not crazy, it's going to be a very good option. Jungler, a lot of these junglers usually just look okay. Jungler's not a spot that I really prioritize. It fills out the rest of my 4-man stack or my 3-man stack. So if you want to get all the way up top and spend on Canavi, 7,600, probably not a spot that I'm going to get too much of in doing that. I understand if you want to, though. A lot of damage leads the slate. Kill participation leads the slate. Kills per contest out of all the starters. By far leads the slate at 3.6, more than 1.3 more than any other starter on the slate. So you can knock yourself out there. Don't really have too much to say. Just watch Cuz in Elam. If you get the starting news late, like 1 in the morning, they've been rotating starting spots as of late. Cuz I would expect, and I'm going to project to start here. And then if you want to just look for any underdogs in terms of looking at some of the junglers, you have XLB for RNG just at $5,200. Again, it's an underdog, so it's going to be a cheap price point, but that's wildly cheap for an underdog that has a ton of upside if you get to win. Probably out of all the underdogs, if one was to win, XLB would be probably the highest scoring for Royal Never Give Up. So that's a spot at $5,200 that just stands out as just really a sore thumb for me. And then everywhere else, if you just want to get to some of these favorites, Cuz is fine if Cuz gets a start. Liang is probably my favorite play when you factor in price. I mean, IG, we've talked about all the great spots for IG, how all their players are mainly expensive. And then Liang, $7,000 is still expensive, but 3rd most expensive jungler in the slate relative to the others. It's around an average price point, 4.4 kills per contest for Liang. If Liang indeed starts, which you've been getting as of late, is a nice spot over Ning. And then the team spots. So team spots, normally if I'm having a 4-man stack, if it's a big slate like this, I'm not putting my team in that 4-man stack. If I have a 3-man stack, you can put the team in there. 4-2-1 is becoming a little bit more popular. 3-3-1 with the 1 maybe being a team. Doesn't have to be a team, but yeah, I think that pretty much any team that you think has the opportunity to win should be in your player pool. So I'm probably for team slot. So I think for the most part, all these teams have an opportunity to win, but when you want to try and factor in ceiling, I'll probably just keep all the favorites in my team slot. Maybe I'll take out APK Prince. Griffin, usually when they win, doesn't even put up a ton of points. Same thing for HLE, so maybe I take them out, but Royal Never Give Up. Billy Bong Gaming, as well as LNG Esports, Dan 1 Gaming, those will all be available to at least make some lineups for me. I don't think a lot will get in there. Royal Never Give Up, if I'm going to get to them, probably more so as a 4-man stack and just really over leverage the slate. So that's where I'm at right now in this 6-game LPL/LCK slate. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments down below. Check out Monkey Knife Fight. You get free $5 if it's your first time signing up or you want to just make a new account and get the free $5 credit. My projections will help out with that. Their numbers are really off still so far, so be sure to check that out. They have all the 4 main slates, major slates now for DFS, so going to be going nonstop with the LPL and LCK and Monkey Knife Fight as well. Projections will come out later today for the slate. Will help you on really any DFS site that you are going to be playing on. So check them out, and if you want to get more than the $5, well, they have a 100% deposit match up to $50. You can use the promo code VETRI, that is VETRI, or just click the link down below, more conveniently in the description. You want to put $10 in and just try it out, you get another 10 for free. You want to put 50 in and really have a bankroll? Well, now you're all the way up to 100, so you have a decent-sized bankroll. Thanks, I appreciate you tuning into this one. Hit the subscribe button before you go. Follow me on Twitter at SalVetriDFS. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed that video. Above my head, if you're not already subscribed to this channel, I do ask you if you can please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a good amount to reach more people. You can also follow me on Twitter. That's over there. Right in the corner is my at SalVetriDFS Twitter. And then above, you'll find my Patreon link. You can click on that if you want more exclusive content for me. Or a video is going to pop up, so why don't you check that one out as well. I think it's going to be beneficial for you. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day.